the Buffalo Tremor Chevrolet. The Carolina Crusher, ready to do battle.
And I just ran the steps that made Rocky famous. And trust me, these are some serious steps. Taking center stage here in Philadelphia this week will be another power sport, that of monster truck racing. Instead of the Italian Stallion, you're going to see the Black Stallion taking on the legendary Bigfoot. And there's many more of the superstars of monster truck racing.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Tallahassee Civic Center in Tallahassee, Florida. I'm Brett Kepner, and along with almost 24 of the nation's fastest super modified mud racers, we are getting ready for what could be the ultimate showdown in indoor off-road racing. The big rivalry between Jeff Acker's Insanity supercharged Chevrolet powered roadster and the three-time and defending world champ Tom Martin in the Super Trooper 32 Chevy could be coming to a head right here in Tallahassee. To the 1991 Monster Truck Challenge Series. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Spectrum in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as we get ready to begin qualifying for this U.S. Hot Rod Association 8-Truck Monster Showdown. The very first man on the starting line, Mike Beeler, and the record. The elapsed time for the Wrecker Chevrolet, 2.64 seconds, will obviously set the pace. Now, you can obviously see that the Carolina Crusher Chevrolet of Gary Porter has already been through the ringer. He had to go quicker than 2.64. The elapsed time, 2.22 seconds. From Woodstock, Illinois, Rob Fuchs and the First Blood Ford. Wild landing for Fuchs. The First Blood Ford goes 2:13. Number one by 0.09 of a second. That will bring up Bennett Clark's Hardy Chevrolet four-wheel Valvoline machine called Clydesdale. 2:21 for the Clydesdale. Unbelievable run. John Pyan in the Sunoco-sponsored Bigfoot Ford. The elapsed time, though, somewhat of a disappointment for John Pyatt and the Bigfoot fans. 2.33 seconds as John Kwasniewski's Buffalo Tremor pulls to the line. The elapsed time to beat, 2:13. Kwasniewski in the Buffalo Tremor runs 2.09 seconds. The Outlaw in one of its very few hometown appearances. Tremendous run by Mike White. On the brakes hard. The elapsed time, 2.20 seconds. Next up, though, the Black Stallion of Michael Vaughters out of the state of Maryland. The elapsed time for the Black Stallion Ford, 2.093 seconds. The Black Stallion falls into the number 2 spot behind the surprising John Kwasniewski-driven Buffalo Tremor. And we still have eliminations yet to go.
In just the entire Delaware Valley will open its arms to Mike Wine and the Jersey Outlaw as he tries to take a first-ever win in the Spectrum. But that won't be an easy task as he takes on the superstars of monster truck racing.
And we'll see that battle when we return, when the Outlaw will have to take on the Black Stallion, Bigfoot, Buffalo Tremor, and the rest. Stay with us. We're back at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. The number one qualifier ended up being John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor, coming back from this action a week ago. One of the most horrific incidents so far of the 1991 U.S. Hot Rod Association season, and you can still see plenty of sheet metal damage on the machine that came back 7 days later. And Kwasniewski takes the first win of the event by the narrowest of margin. That'll bring out Rob Fuchs in the First Blood, a machine that was surprisingly the number 3 qualifier. But he's got his work cut out for him. In the very first round, he's drawn John Pyan and the Bigfoot Ford. And the hole shot goes to Bigfoot. Both machines sideways in the shutdown area. But Rob Fuchs came back around to win an incredibly close battle. But look at the distance at the finish line. About 3 feet, both machines into the retaining wall in the wildest battle we've seen yet. The Super Winch-sponsored Jersey Outlaw Ford is going to be hard-pressed. He'll take on Mike Beeler and the always impressive Wrecker Chevrolet. But at the finish line, it is almost too close to call. The Outlaw apparently has come back around, and yes, the U.S. Hobbit Association officials say now Mike Wine is the official winner. Certainly one of the best efforts so far this season for Vaughters, taking the number 2 spot. A narrow win, but a win nonetheless for Gary Porter. He upsets the number 2 qualifier for the Chevrolet fans. But coming up, we've got the semifinal round with the final 4 remaining. Stay with us. We move now to the Tallahassee Civic Center in Tallahassee, Florida for a gathering of giants in the super modified mud racing world. No less than 24 machines are ready to do battle in an 80-foot long mud pit, 36 inches deep, with the objective to record the quickest elapsed time in that distance. But you must stop your machine within 80 feet past the finish line, or you'll risk disqualification. Here's Ron Smith out of the state of Michigan, the first man up in the supercharged Chevrolet-powered Fiat Coupe. And the Gold Beaver machine locks up the brakes and stops in time. The first run through the pit will be an official number 1 mark to beat at 1.907 seconds. And you see the look on Smith's face. He's not happy with that run at all, despite the fact that it looked nearly picture perfect. The crowd watches as the next machine pulls to the starting line from Colchester, Connecticut. It's Pat Riley, a supercharged, small block Chevrolet-powered Jeep CJ funny car called Hellfire. Riley clears the motor, drops the visor, and gets ready for his shot. In and out of the throttle, now trying to stop, but he slams into the wall, going past the disqualification line marked by the cones and boundaries in front of him. Here's the most recognizable machine in the sport of mud racing today. This is the 1932 Chevrolet called Mud Patrol that took Indiana's Tom Martin to 3 consecutive world championships, including last year's Camel title. It's now being driven as part of a 2-car Tom Martin team by past dirt track late model stock car driver Paul Schaefer. Schaefer found that the machine has plenty of power on his very first run when it went straight up into a wheel stand. But now he's chasing the World Points Championship. A great run on the brakes hard. The elapsed time, 2.021 seconds. Just misses making the program. Moving to the starting line from Waxhaw, North Carolina, Jody Kelly, the 1923 Ford T Roadster called Stumpy's T that finished so well in the 1990 U.S. Hobbit Association Camel World Points Championship battle and is now threatening Tom Martin, the 3-time world champ, for the points lead this season. A great run, a lot of spraying mud as Kelly puts it sideways in the shutdown area, 2.02 seconds. Here's the Team Rancho shock absorber machine of the incredible Mark Watros. Out of the state of Michigan, it's a supercharged 557 cubic inch Ford-powered Thunderbird funny car. A great run, nearly out of bounds, a tremendous amount of steam off the hot exhaust headers, but it looks like Watros may have one that made the field. The elapsed time, 1.999 seconds. Here is Melvin Brown, the Ohio veteran with not 1 but 2 machines in competition. This is his rear-engine supercharged Chevy-powered dragster called Red Heat. A wild ride and an incredibly rough pass on the top end. Brown thrown around inside the roll cage violently. He had to feel every bit of that. Here's the brother team of Jeff and Jack Sturkin, who finished number 2 in the world in 1989. Their supercharged small block Chevy S10 called Ground Zero lines up. On the brakes hard, sliding towards the DQ line, but he keeps it inbounds by a matter of feet. What a wild ride through the shutdown area for the Michigan driver. The elapsed time, 2.150 seconds, and that will qualify him fourth. Here's Tony Ferrotti, another Michigan campaigner, an immaculate 1927 Ford Model T Roadster with 2,000 supercharged Chevrolet horsepower. Incredible launch. He stops it in time, but that had to be one of the most violent starting line leaves we have seen so far in this super modified contest. This man, Jeff Acker from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in the Insanity supercharged Chevrolet-powered 1923 Ford Model T, has been threatening Tom Martin's bid at an incredible 4th straight World Championship all year. Here is his shot at qualifying for the field. He must go quicker than 2.008 seconds to make the shootout. An incredible run. Can he stop it in time? Unbelievable. By a matter of inches, he is either inbounds or out of bounds. If it was good, we'll have to look from the overhead camera. Take a look. And it looks like mud is what actually knocked over the pylon, the machine throwing mud in front of it. The elapsed time, 1.934 seconds, will qualify Acker, and this man has got to be upset at that prospect. 3-time independent world champ Tom Martin, the brand new Super Trooper, is on the starting line, and Tony Ferrotti is on that bump spot, number 4 spot. He's at the end of the track, keeping a careful eye on whether or not the world champ will knock him out of the field. Martin must go quicker than 2 seconds flat, period. If he does and stays in bounds, he'll qualify for the field. On the brakes hard, he stops it in time, but was the run good enough? Martin goes 1.899 seconds. Ferrotti can only accept the consolation from other drivers who have failed to make this field. Tom Martin leads the pack, 189, followed by the Gold Fever Fiat of Ron Smith, arch rival Acker, and Watros's Team Rancho Thunderbird. The Camel Shootout will be coming up with those 4 qualifiers. Stay with us.
Wet paint.
Here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, the crowd is ready for 2 races that could be the wildest of the event so far. A pair of Ford versus Chevrolet battles. The number 1 qualifier is still in the program, but the number 2 man is out. Here's the number 3 qualifier against number 1. It'll be the first blood Ford of Rob Fuchs against John Kwasniewski's Buffalo Tremor Chevrolet. The flag comes out there, gone. Unbelievably close finish. And Chris Chapman is on the floor.
With semifinal action underway, it looks like Buffalo Tremor will advance to the final round of competition. He's going to be going up against either Mike Wine and the Jersey Outlaw or Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher.
Ford and Chevrolet, Carolinas versus New Jersey. Remember, Mike Wine qualified number 4. The Crusher was number 6, but between the two, only 0.02 of a second in qualifying. And they're gone. The whole shot goes to Wine, but Porter comes back around in the last 5 feet.
That one was just a little bit too close to call, but it appears that Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher have upset Mike Wine and the Jersey Outlaw here in the Spectrum. This is the way the final comes down. It will be either Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher or John Kwasniewski and the Buffalo Tremor.
It'll be a Yankee versus Rebel, all Chevrolet dash, New York and North Carolina. We've had a chance to meet the intergalactic traveler known as Borean. But here's how Borean gets his power.
My name's Francis Pelford. My nickname's Pinky. That comes from my complexion in the summer. What I'm going to do is make some hand rockets for Vorian, the robot. I use a combination of concussion powder and sparkle powder, and these are electrically fired with electric matches. This will produce a flash effect with some sparkle and a moderate amount of noise, which is used for Vorian's rockets. Basically, these are the same type of materials that are used in larger aerial shells as far as outdoor fireworks. We place the igniters in. And they're sealed with an interlocking cap. And it's ready to be placed in the robot. There's some other devices that we're going to use during the show for Vorian, which are sitting here on the table. The tall cylinders are concussion mortars. They'll be loaded with the magnesium powder, and will produce a extremely loud report. The shorter, wider devices, the flash pots, they'll be loaded with sparkle powder and flash powder to produce another effect. It should be understood that these are controlled materials and devices, and that I am federally licensed, and that this is not something you should try at home.
It'll be a Yankee versus Rebel, all Chevrolet Dash, New York and North Carolina. Plus, the Final Four in the Super Modified Mud Racing Wars yet to come. Stay with us. We're back in Tallahassee, Florida, getting ready for the Camel Shootout. Look at this pit. Solid clay, yet no ruts. That means that the track is still soupy and may not be able to offer the traction these drivers are hoping for. The 4 quickest qualifiers are back and ready. And Ron Smith's Gold Beaver starts things off. Unbelievable run. Did it go out of bounds, or is it still okay? Jim Weber says it's okay down there at the finish line, and so does Smith. There it is, less than a foot away from going out of bounds. The incredible Gold Beaver sets the pace at 1.882 seconds. That's actually quicker than he ran during qualifying. And Mark Watrous' Team Rancho Thunderbird would like to improve. And Watrous shuts the engine down a little early, and that may have hurt him. The elapsed time, 1.951 seconds, won't be enough to take over the lead. Watrous' conservatism hurt him there. Now it's Jeff Acker, the Insanity Roadster out of Milwaukee. He shuts off early as well. He barely stops in time. And the elapsed time, 1.80 seconds. A simply amazing run. The helmet comes off, and as a touring professional, there is nothing sweeter than taking over the lead with one more man to go. Who would have ever thought that this course would have come around like this?
I don't know. It sure did. It's starting to hold power pretty decent, and I don't know, as long as you can get it stopped, should be able to get a nice time, and I don't know, there's one stiff one back there yet. We'll see what happens.
One real tough one. Great job. 1.80.
Thank you very much.
Incredible. Looking at the replay, the launch was perfect, and he shut it down about 3 feet early in order to stop. He takes the lead, and this man must unload a big one to take the #1 spot and the victory. Tom Martin ran 1.899 seconds in qualifying. You just saw Jeff Acker improve 13 hundredths from his qualifying run, and Martin must do the same if he expects to win this event. He's got to go quicker than Acker's 1.803 second effort. Readying himself. And Martin comes completely out of the pit. All 4 wheels airborne at the halfway mark. Martin slams his fist down in disgust. Jeff Acker wins the Super Modified Championship, and he looks like he can't even believe it. Look at Martin airborne in the mid-range. He stopped in plenty of time. The elapsed time, 1.862 seconds. Unbelievable run considering the problems he had. The crowd can't believe it. The world champ gets beaten again in 1991 by the man who is chasing him down to stop the Tom Martin hierarchy in super-modified mud racing. As the helmet comes off of certainly the killer in the super-modified ranks, you have to wonder what's going through his mind. If I had to guess, Tom, was I right in assuming that you shut the engine off because you couldn't see anything because the front end was so high?
Yeah, I thought I was going left on the track, and I had to back out. You know, it felt pretty good, but if you can't see, you gotta back out.
Well, you shut it off at an honest 50 feet. It was literally just past half track that you shut it off, maybe 55 feet, and it still went 186. Would it have been good enough, do you think?
Oh, I think it would have. But, you know, you drive on instinct, and I didn't want to DQ, and if you can't see, you can't go.
One thing's for sure, after so many years of dominating this class, you know these guys are breathing down your neck.
Oh, yeah, but we got a long season to go, and I'm hanging on second. It's going to be tough.
Indeed it is, but you still got second place here tonight, and that'll add some points up, so great job.
Second place is pretty good.
Well, Peter Roth from the Camel team congratulates Jeff Acker of the Insanity Machine. Acker's got to be thinking about that possible world championship and becoming the first man to knock Martin out of the #1 spot in this sport since 1987. Well, certainly with everybody gunning for three-time world champion Tom Martin, Jeff Acker was one of the guys that was breathing right down his neck. But this time around, it was a little bit different. You pulled it off, and you've got to be thrilled.
Yes, I am very thrilled. You get around stiff competition like that, and you definitely accomplish something.
Very seldom do we see a mud racing event pick up in elapsed time. Very seldom do we see a track get better. Do you have any idea why that happened here?
Well, they brought the clay down from Georgia from what I was told, and once you start getting the ruts, it starts getting pretty sticky, and you can start turning some faster times if you don't have to deal with the ruts going through the pit, and they seem to straighten out, so everything seemed to work pretty decent.
And one thing I should bring up is that when a pit gets sticky like that and gets ruts in it, it also beats the heck out of the guys running in it. You took some really hard rocks in that.
Yeah, it does. It rocks you around pretty good, and I hit my head on the roll bar a little bit, but that's what the padding's for.
Well, despite the brutal ride inside the cockpit, it was brute horsepower and driving talent that won this event for Acker. And this is only the beginning of a rivalry that should last the entire season with this man. Three-time world champ Tom Martin and the Super Trooper. We won't find out the winner of this one until the fall. In the meantime, back at the Spectrum in Philadelphia, we've got the Monster Truck Championship Dash ready to go. The Carolina Crusher of Gary Porter takes on Northern New York's own John Kwasniewski. The Buffalo Tremor has made it back from that horrible crash 7 days ago to do battle in the championship round here in Philadelphia. They're gone. The whole shot goes to Porter, and he stretches it out at the finish line. The Carolina Crusher comes north to defeat the Yankees and win the championship bout. Unbelievable Spectrum. We saw an incredible monster truck final round. Here's Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher on his winning run. But credit certainly has to be given to John Kwasniewski on an incredible runner-up coming back from that horrific crash. Chris Chapman has our winner down on the floor.
Gary Porter, driver of the Carolina Crusher, has to be probably the happiest man in Philadelphia right now.
I am. We worked on the truck a lot right before the race today, and I didn't have at one time an idea that we would even race today. I had some problems with my 4-link bars and suspension and stuff, and the guy with me really worked on the truck a lot, and we came in and it paid off.
So how does this make you feel? Does it make you feel like you're going to come back out some more in the 1991 season and kick some butt, or are you going to go back to the Carolinas?
No, I think I want to stay out and take the points win this year.
Good luck to you, Gary.
Okay, thank you.
Gary Porter and the Carolina Crusher take the victory here at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. That's all this time. Good night, everyone. I'm Chris Chapman, and we'll see you next time.
Well, that's it from Tallahassee, Florida, here at the Tallahassee Civic Center. You couldn't have asked for a wilder event. Until next time, I'm Brett Kupner. Thanks for being with us.